amazing. If you guys never tried it, cut your pizza with scissors. It's a life change. I think it saved me like a couple hours in my life already. It's just so clumsy. You know, with a knife, you just kind of cut through the cardboard and then cut it to your leg. If the pizza cutter is on your leg, if you're sitting on the couch. So there we
How
go.
often do you eat
Free life tip. You know, like a life hack. It's gonna save you a lot of time and hassle.
How often do you eat pizza, man?
Not often enough.
Actually, not that often.
Not often enough.
I saw.
Okay.
Wait, I already looked through the questions. I don't see it right now, but I know the question was there. Sorry that I cannot mention the person because I don't see it right now. But there was an interesting question, and that was like, if you wouldn't be a YouTuber / business owner / airsoft, what would you do? Like, what would be your profession?
That's a really tricky one. I mean, before Novritsch became a thing and like a company, I was an electric engineer commissioner, and I was working in China actually. So I was working for a German company, and they sent me to China to get the machines up and running that the Chinese built that were not working. Reminds me, by the way, of what we're doing now in a way. So there's some crossovers. I would probably still be doing that, honestly. It was kind of cool, you know.
You told me you hated it.
I hated it, but
you would still do it?
I think I would still do it because I mean, I had like a hate-love relationship to this work because, and on the one hand, this company, you understand, I think it's kind of like with this kind of job, it's hard to go back because it pays quite well, and at the same time, you also get sent all over the world. Like you get sent to different countries for multiple months. You experience all these different lives, and then going back to like a normal 9 to 5, sitting in the same place kind of job, maybe in an industry that you're not even interested in, which is, you know, quite possible. That's what most jobs are. I think I would have just stick to it. How would you, Joseph? What would you do?
Something probably similar because I studied marketing, so my background is in marketing. So I would be doing that most likely. I mean, I used to work for big corporations in the car industry, so like Skoda, Bosch, and Volkswagen. So I would probably stick around, I guess.
Yeah, wearing a shirt every day.
Most likely.
That's nicely ironed.
Man, it's cool for the first week. I'm telling you, first week when you start, you know, fresh, you feel like good about yourself, right? Your mama would be proud. You think.
Yeah.
After a week, man, you at least me, I just hated it. It's just so much more comfortable to just wear a tactical T-shirt and Lova shoes, and that's it. You know, that's your work.
It's a quality.
It's just way better.
Yeah, I think my mom would also be more proud. You know, she still can't get over it that I'm selling toy guns. It's a bit hard for her to understand.
She got used to it, right?
Yeah, she got used to it. Yeah, it's actually a really funny story. I think I told this a couple of times already, but I just think it's such an irony. Because my mom was, you know, don't get me wrong, my mom was extremely supportive in all aspects of my life. For Airsoft, they're funny enough, which now became a profession. But it was really hard for me to convince her to buy an Airsoft gun, and I think many people here in this chat can probably relate to that. Like convincing your parents to buy an Airsoft gun, oh my god, that's just such a hassle. Did you experience that as well, Joseph? Or did you just buy it?
I just bought it without asking.
Which age?
And then
what age?
Yeah, man, I was like probably like 13. I've been maybe even younger, maybe 12, 11 to 13, something like that. Just the typical plasticky toy, very cheap, nothing. It just looked like a gun. It shot. Even the slide wasn't moving. And then when my parents found out, they were not happy. But then it wasn't really a problem afterwards. Like, it wasn't like a big thing, or they were just like, just be careful and just
see that out of hand, Joseph. They're like, it's fine, it's just a small toy gun. It's not gonna become his profession. Don't worry about it. Boom! 10 years later. 15 years later, Joseph dedicated his life to Airsoft.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, watch your kids,
Actually,
you know.
quite funny.
Watch your kids.
Okay, we should probably
allow them to buy like a little RC race car. They're gonna become a Formula One driver or something, some sort of that.
I'm sure that's how life works. Yeah, 100% of the time. No, I think we just got lucky. I mean, depends how we look at it. It's not Volkswagen.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, I see another question that pops into my feed here.
Yeah, we have to start talking less and more answering the questions actually.
So Demon is asking if there will ever be a Novritsch LMG, like an M249, MG36, and so on. I think I can very broadly answer this question in general because a lot of these kind of questions are in this channel. Like, Novritsch is a very fast-growing company, and we are really trying to make pretty much everything. So, unless it's something extremely niche, like some, I don't know, World War II gun that most people don't know about, and that's not really the most ergonomic. Like, these things are not really on the schedule. But anything that's in some way efficient on the field, and an LMG is part of that, obviously, if used right, we make all of this kind of stuff. It's just a question of time. Because making a product takes up to 3 years sometimes. So we're actually launching in 2 weeks another rifle that we were working on for 3 years. So you might not see these things yet, but we now have a development team that's, I think it's 20 people now in Vienna totally, and we have 10 people over in Asia helping us, hired by us, making sure that the factories do what we want them to do. Stuff is coming. Yeah, it's a massive lineup that we're trying to really push forward, but it just takes time. If you want to make something good, then it just needs time.
Could we say that we will basically have everything in the future?
Everything that's not niche, I would say. I mean, Airsoft is already a niche in itself, but like the basics that you would expect. That's like people use that kind of stuff because the basic gun design is efficient and it's ergonomic and all that. Like a P90. Like, it's a cool compact submachine gun. It has its unique features that make it, it gives you an advantage. It's so compact, so we kind of wanted to make a P90 just because of that. We would probably never make a K98 because the ergonomics are not that great. It's a heavy gun. It's kind of outdated. Usually doesn't have a big rail and all of kind of stuff. So that's not something we look into, because we know if we would make it, maybe some collectors would get it, but it's not really something that you would see on the field. And we, our focus as we are players ourselves, we want to create stuff that we would say, hey, I want to use this myself. It's actually really cool. Yeah.
Here there was a point from Grace about women and clothing in Airsoft, that it's super hard to get, and if you want to get it, it's usually super expensive and all that. Do we have plans to maybe venture in that direction, or?
Not a problem is, I don't know into how much detail I should go here, but if you make an Airsoft product, the money you basically need that you have to put into development and then setting up an assembly line for it and setting up the machines for it, you need to do a certain amount, like a minimum quantity. And women, it's just a lot smaller market. So we thought about it, making our own uniform, but in the end we were kind of like, we're not sure. However, what we did look is we scanned the entire market and tried to find a company that makes women's clothing that might not be an Airsoft company, but they make hiking gear. We actually found a couple companies. We are right now testing them, and it's not going to be a Novritsch uniform. It's also not going to be Novritsch branded, but we're going to start carrying it. It's just like a hiking pants with reinforced knee areas. They're very stretched. They're more formed to the women body, and they actually come in camo. These are not like the typical camos, like multicam and so on. It's like this company's own camo, but it looks very tactical and very cool. But it's gonna take a bit longer because there's more testing going on, and working with this company turned out to be not as easy as we thought. But we're on it. We have the women of Airsoft in mind, and something is gonna come on Novritsch.com. However, again, not actually designed by us.
Which is okay if it's a good product. I mean,
it's a good product. Actually, the girls within the company, especially at Textile, they love wearing it. Like they wear it to work even because they just dig it, you know.
Well, then it must be good.
Yes.
If you want to wear it to work and it's comfy, that's the perfect, you know, outfit for Airsoft as well.
Mm.
Camouflage. I mean, do you really need camouflage that much in Airsoft? I mean, all the ghillie guys will be like, what is he talking
fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Of course, it depends on your play style. Okay, sure, but like, you know, regular camouflage in a CQB, you know, in a building,
makes no difference right there.
It helps a little bit. Let's say it helps.
It's not a disadvantage to have camo. Let's put it like this. It always is for sure an advantage. How big the advantage is, you know, really depends on your play style and where you play and if it's actually fitting that exact environment. It's very tricky to make a camo that fits all woodlands. You know, it's basically impossible. I have here a more controversial one. I really want to go into the controversial ones as well because I think it's a good opportunity to talk to you guys directly. One guy says, how did the move to China affect you? Will you be doing more normal gameplay at some point? So the move to China, I can talk about this a little bit. We once released a video where we sent a part of our development team back then actually to China, and we released a video on YouTube, and man, we got so much shit for it. You know, people seeing that, you know, we basically went to China to push production. Now, reality is, and I know a lot of people don't want, you know, I don't know, they don't want to realize this or they just don't accept it. But most of the stuff, if you I don't know, sit in an office chair, you turn around once, everything you see probably comes from China already. It is just reality that China has a massive production infrastructure, and it's very hard to actually not produce in China. If we would, let's say, produce a product in Europe or in America, that would be unaffordable. Like, no Airsoft player would want to spend, let's say, 600, 700 euros for an SSP5. I mean, some people might, but it's not really that possible. Back then, we went not just to China. I mean, that video only showed China, but the idea was basically to set up a headquarter in Asia so we can travel between Hong Kong, Taiwan, and China, which is the three countries where Airsoft is really made. There's not... I mean, there's some assemblies in Europe, but these are quite, you know, this is the minority. I think it's like probably 0.1% of the entire Airsoft product landscape is manufactured in Europe. So it's very little, and they are quite expensive, these products. The idea was to have a headquarter in Asia, so we can travel between the factories between Taiwan, Hong Kong, and China, and really make sure that the stuff that is manufactured for us is being done right. Because what we basically do is we go to factories and we tell them, hey, this is what we want to make. This is our 3D designs, and you know, it's a long back and forth to get the product right, to then start, you know, a factory sample, engineering sample, go into pre-production, and you need to constantly check back with the engineers there, because very often these people in Asia, just quite often, they don't understand what the Western Airsoft player wants. One example is 0.4 gram BBs. I remember when I designed the SSG-10, I told these people, hey, we need 0.4 gram BBs. I'm going to source hopper buckets from Maple Leaf. I'm going to send them to your factory. This is how you need to assemble them. This is how you need to make sure that it seals 100%. And they said, wait, did you just say 0.4? We never even heard about such a BB. Like, all we have here is 0.2. Which also explains why, you know, most sniper rifles that get imported from Asia, they actually cannot hop heavy BBs. So in any case, this was the idea. Problem is, COVID hit, and that whole thing actually failed in a sense. Like, we are currently not in Asia anymore, even though it would be quite good for the development team to be in Asia. But that's the reality as we speak. Quite extensive answer. Joseph, do you agree?
What? I was just sleeping.
I left already. Okay, Joseph, you do a question. Maybe it's going to be a bit less serious. I just think that's important, you know, because people...
Okay, 136 new messages. Man, we have to really fly through these, because then people will be like, oh, they didn't answer anything.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try to really fly through it. Would you ever, guys, consider a DMR line based off a 308 762, like the SR25?
For sure. I mean, it is the most popular DMR platform. Again,
so it makes sense.
I don't want to say yes and no, because our development lineup is confidential. We don't want to release it. I don't want to talk about features and all that, because this industry is competitive, and as soon as I leak some unique feature, just a question of time until a competitor picks it up. So unfortunately, I can't talk about the details and which models exactly we make. But yeah, as I said, most.
We understand. Let's fly through it.
All right. We fly through it.
Just questions keep coming, man. Will there be an AK replica? Same answer, I guess.
Same answer. SSG24, SSG10. I think that's a good one. I honestly say SSG10, and I would even say SSG10A1 over the SSG10A2 and A3. Some people would disagree, but man, I love the lightweightness of the A1, and I think it cannot be beaten. So the SSG24, it's a great shooting gun, it's reliable, it's all that, but the SSG10 is all that as well. It's cheaper and it's lighter. So I would actually go for the SSG10A1 if I had to pick one of these.
Or Joseph, why make your GBBRs super light blowback housing, the super light blowback? Wouldn't you get better performance from HPA? So okay, one by one. Light blowback, it's more efficient and it still feels good. So it's just more efficient. Better performance with HPA, yes and no. I don't like HPA because you have the line there. For winter, maybe. I'm just not a big fan. And yes, it's because of the realism. You just don't have that many BBs, but you shoot heavy BBs, so it's kind of like a sniper, but in like a assault rifle, if that makes sense. Heavy mags, I'm not a fan of heavy mags. I think they are just not necessary to be heavy. If you want realism, it's a good thing. Me personally, I would prefer like aluminum, full CNC mags. That would be cool. Yeah.
However, one detail: aluminum mags actually come with a disadvantage, and we saw this with
the temperature.
The latest Crytek release. So Crytek, in their Maxim 9 pistol, which I think is a really cool product. Like, don't get me wrong, it's really nice. They went with Glock standard magazines anyway, so you can change the magazine if you want to. But the standard magazine is made from a die-cast aluminum, and we wanted to do this as well, but we figured out quite fast that the heat participation is just not as good as aluminum as it is with zinc. So cooldown effect is faster, and you cannot get all the rounds through your pistol in colder temperatures. So be careful with the lightweight mags, Joseph. Careful what you wish for.
Yes, that is a good point. But I've never really seen one for a GBBR, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's why. Maybe that's
probably
exactly
not a thing. So I didn't. Yeah, I mean, would make sense.
Yeah,
would make sense.
Good.
All right.
Next one.
Next question.
When will you be releasing the falling stocks for the pistols? So the falling stock for the pistols became a massive project because it started actually with the SSP-18, but then we also made it for the SSD-18. Now we make it for the high capper and for another pistol which is not on the market yet, but we also make a folding one for this one. It is coming. I think it's about a month from now. The production is already done and we are already packing onto the container. So this thing is coming. Oh, he's still here.
Yeah.
Don't leave me alone, man.
Yeah, I'm trying
We're in this together.
To find the next question. Hey Novritsch, will you sue me for turning your logo into pizza? No, please send it in. Wait, there is already the picture of it. We even have it as emoji now. Okay, well, there we go. It's fine. It's fine.
Is the SSP2 stronger than the SSP5? And when will the SSP4 be back in stock? So the SSP2 stronger than SSP5. I don't really know what you mean with stronger.
Powerful, I guess.
Probably powerful. SSP5 is more powerful. It shoots 1.5 joule, and that's because we intended this guy to be a primary pistol. Like you can really take this out into the woodlands and snipe people. It's such an accurate pistol.
Man, today I've seen a video on Facebook, SSB5, and the guy was clocking at 2.3, 2.4 joules. I don't know what he's done. There were some modifications, but like 2.3 joules, whew, with a pistol.
The thing is that, so we talked before about the folding stock carbine kits, right? We have a guy in the company, his name is Christian, and he kind of was like, man, I'm gonna put a long barrel into the SSB5, and he brought it up to 3.3 joules actually, and with not that much of a longer barrel. It's a 303 millimeter G-spec VSR barrel, and when we saw that, we were like, man, we gotta make a carbine kit out of this thing. So now, there's the minimal carbine kit, but we're now actually considering making kind of like what the 303 is for the SSX23, make that, but for the SSB5. And because it's such an accurate gun, I think it's going to be really interesting. Like it's a semi-automatic gas blowback, high kappa based, which is like one of the most reliable systems in the gas blowback world. And it's gonna shoot like crazy.
It's basically
max, small max. Sorry.
I just wanted to say it's like basically the 303, the SSX 303, but loud, right?
Exactly. And with the snappy trigger, you have a high kappa trigger, which is like the best trigger in the, at least for competition kind of stuff. It's like the best trigger in Airsoft. That's why people use it. And then you have this in a sniper rifle, basically, in a sniper rifle form factor. That's gonna be. I'm really looking forward to this product. I think that's gonna be my go-to if I don't care about being quiet.
Ever think of a Novritsch helmet? That would be good. I think the helmets out there, or the one that we have in the shop, the FMA, I believe, they are pretty good. I'm not sure. Can you think of an improvement to a helmet?
I mean, no helmet. Would be an improvement. Actually, honestly, lately, I mean, I started using the helmet because we offer lots of stuff for helmets, and I kind of I want to make sure that the stuff we offer is good. So I'm running it, and in the beginning I was like, why would I run a fucking helmet? Like it's just heavy and all that. But honestly, it's not really. Like Airsoft helmets are.
It's not
super light. They don't really bother. You can mount all kinds of shit on there, especially with the anti-fog. I like how you can route the tubes, and it's kind of like this solid. It's like a plate carrier. You kind of set it up, and then it's just there. And when you put it on, it's on you. It's not like a soft pony that maybe something is in the wrong spot. I started digging helmets lately.
Yeah, I mean, me too. We have pretty much the same setup. I think the helmets are pretty good. There is nothing more to it. So Novritsch helmet, probably not. Just put the Novritsch helmet cover on it, and it's a Novritsch helmet.
Yeah. Also, generally speaking, like if there's a product in the market that's good, we don't make it, right? We don't make, for example, let's say the Odin speed loader. We will not make another Odin speed loader. Like this thing is just perfect. So we will not look into this. We look into what's not out there yet. For example, the anti-fog, like a good anti-fog solution for an affordable price, wasn't out there, so we made it. But helmets, no, that's enough for me.
Any completely insane or out-of-the-box project you are working on, like not really practical or tactical, but like wow factor, something really cool.
We can actually start talking about the slingshot. I think that's like a.
Oh yeah.
I think people would give it a bit of a wow because this makes no fucking sense. Why this guy's making a slingshot?
So we are making a slingshot.
I think you can talk about it. I mean, I think we're equally passionate about it, but I give it to you.
So one day on an airsoft field, we were playing airsoft, and after the game, Chris came up to me and he's like, "Man, I bought this new slingshot. It's super cool. Wanna shoot it?" So I said yes. I couldn't hit a thing. I had zero idea how to use it, but it was cool, and we both started just practicing with the slingshot. And once Chris told me that there are guys who hunt with slingshots, especially in the UK, it's allowed to hunt with the slingshot. I'm like, I want to get this accurate. I want to get this good. And I spent nights in the shooting range, just shooting slingshots. And it's doable. It's totally doable. You can aim, you can hit small targets. Well, long story short, it's really cool. And you can put it in your pocket and take it anywhere. And you also have like clay balls. So if you shoot in the nature, you set up your target popper somewhere in the forest, doesn't really matter where. And you can have fun, and it fits into your pocket. So yeah, we are making a slingshot.
Because again, we didn't find one that we were happy with. Like we really went down the rabbit hole of what's important about a slingshot, and man, like that slingshot, it sounds so funny, right? What could go wrong about a slingshot? But man, this is an amazing slingshot.
You can literally make it out of a tree branch.
Yeah,
and
you can
still not happy with it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So we will have a slingshot, which is gonna be really cool. I'm super looking forward to that.
Man, I can't wait to show people. Yeah, honestly, I think a slingshot, man. If you're an Airsoft player, you have to have one of these because it's so fun. Because when you're at the field, you can shoot, at, I don't know, beer cans or something, and you can finally do precision shooting because that's the one thing that I'm missing in Airsoft. You can do like speed shooting and IPSC, and you can, play skirmishing and all that. But what you can't do is you cannot just stand there and say, hey, let's do precision shooting. Because Airsoft guns, let's face it, they're just not precise. They're not precise enough to do precision shooting. So it's always the Airsoft gun that makes you miss. It's not you, usually.
Yeah. Wait. So you're saying that with an Airsoft gun, you cannot do precision shooting, but you can do precision shooting with a slingshot. I mean, all the people that are listening are now probably like, what's going on here?
Well, to get this right, I'm not saying a slingshot is more accurate than an Airsoft gun, but if you miss with a slingshot, it's your fault, not the slingshot's fault, because you just didn't hold it properly, you didn't release properly, you didn't pinch properly. But if you miss with an Airsoft gun, it might just be the gun, and it's not really your skill, right? So there's no reason to compete if it's not you getting the win, but it's kind of like the Airsoft gun. Maybe you were lucky and the grouping was tight this time. Yeah, anyways, let's move on. Let's go back to Airsoft.
So, okay, slingshot shooting, just imagine Olympic archery with a slingshot. Smaller.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes. That's kind of how it works. Of course, it's not the same, but okay. Another one.
When will we see full thrust for SSG 10? I think here we can already give some dates. Joseph, you know it, right? When are we launching full thrust?
Yeah, Monday. It's on Monday. Yes, everything's ready already.
Yeah, so in a couple of days. They are inbounded in the warehouse. We're gonna do warehouse QC. Should be all fine because we QC'd it in Asia. So yeah, Monday you will see full thrust.
And it has golden chamber.
Man, the chamber is
it's stainless steel barrel, golden chamber, special yen bucking and all that. It's good. It's good.
It's nice.
What dummy question? What is AMMF? I can't even read properly anymore. Ask me anything. It also took me a while.
They have to write it a lot. AMS. Yeah. Good. What else do we have? I can't order your pack box. I'm from Denmark. Well, there are certain countries with certain regulation. Denmark is probably one of them, which is why we said it like this. But not every country can buy everything that we have. And that's because of import laws.
Why are you so handsome, Chris? Let me guess. It's the sunscreen. Chris likes to use a lot of sunscreen.
Let's not get into that. Yeah, I told Joseph lately that he has to use sunscreen because we are turning 30 now, and dating girls is fun, and once you look old, dating gets a lot more harder. So we started using sunscreen.
Let's move on.
Any ideas on an alternative for mesh masks? Well, Joseph would say mouse guards, but SZTYM said not counting mouse guards. So Joseph, we are out. Well, we actually look into this problem since more than a year already, and we are developing a dedicated face protection for Airsoft. I don't want to get too much into it because there's some really, really unique designs in it, and I just don't want to show them off yet because I know the competition is gonna copy it. Yeah, we are on this because honestly, when you look at paintball, for example, the face protection solutions are just insane. They are so well developed, and in Airsoft we still run around with these clumsy mesh masks and these clumsy balaclavas that are just super hot, and no solution is really good, and we want to change that. It's also going to be compatible with the anti-fog, obviously, so it's going to be like that one system that just goes in your head, and it's not uncomfortable, it's not a hassle, you can still aim, even if you have low sights and all of this. It's gonna be amazing. I think it's really gonna change the game.
When will you play at Airsoft Park Tirol again?
It's so far. So Airsoft Park Tirol is the urban game area. It's an amazing field, but it's just 7 hours by car, so it's just too far.
And also recording videos there is a problem because Austrian laws and all that. I don't want to go into depth, but if we play there, you guys wouldn't even really see it. So
yeah.
That's that. It's unfortunate, but that's it. Italy. Play in Italy. Black Cat is asking. I actually talked to a guy from Italy at Croatian Airsoft Island, and he said that there are some really cool milsims. So I'm watching. That reminds me, I should probably contact the guy and ask when is it. So yeah, there is a chance we might go to Italy.
Yeah. What Norwich gun do you recommend for people on a budget just starting for shooting in the backyard? For me, that's the SSB2. It's our cheapest gas blowback pistol for shooting in the backyard. I mean, you could buy a Springer pistol. I mean, we don't make Springer pistols, but you could do that. However, it's just not that fun, really. I think you have to go for a gas blowback gun in order to have fun in the backyard.
Have you ever considered opening Airsoft Park or field with an in-store Novritsch shop? Chris?
We actually considered this.
Several times.
I have this dream, but somehow I cannot really accomplish it. I would love to have a field near the city center where I can go with the subway and I can play for 1 or 2 hours CQB and go home again. The thing is, I ran the calculations and I ran the numbers, and well, there's a reason why this doesn't exist. It's just that the ticket prices that a business has to charge to make this feasible are outrageous. Like no one would go to such a field and pay, €50 for or $50 for 1 or 2 hours. And this is why you will not find this in any of the European countries that are more towards the west. It just rent is too expensive. So I thought about it. I ran the numbers. It's just not worth it. And if we just do another outdoor field, it's kind of, there's enough outdoor fields. There's no reason really to make one. I would like to make a unique field that's easy to go there and easy to play there. Okay, what else do we have?
What is your guys' favorite snack for when you are playing Airsoft? Well, that's probably Saturo bars, right?
Yes, it's Saturo bars. It's basically I guess you could call it a protein bar.
Kinda. It's more like not really just protein. It's more like food, like a complete food thing in a bar.
Yeah.
So
but it's not really our favorite food because it's so tasty. It's more like convenient. When you play, you don't want to think about warming something up. And I know some people like to bring camping cookers and all that kind of stuff, but man, it's already enough, to make sure that all your guns are loaded and that everything is adjusted. And we're also testing new products all the time. So we even sometimes write reports during the game. No time for that. So Saturo is our best bet.
Yeah. And also we have a bunch of content to make, like pictures for the website, for the launch, perhaps social media, also like making stories. I mean, stories are supposed to be simple and easy and quick, but they're not. So there's a lot that's going on when we actually go and play, and there is very little time for, well, anything else except work, really. So there's just a huge list of things we have to do, and cooking an amazing dish is not on the list.
Yeah. What's the worst airsoft weapon in your opinion? Just the type, not the brand. So just the model. I mean, for me, probably the worst is just the biggest and heaviest. That would be an M200 sniper rifle. Probably one of the biggest, heaviest. All the models that are on the market shoot like shit. It's basically a wall hanger. I would say all wall hanger guns are the worst.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I cannot think of something specific, but just big and heavy and not really doesn't give you any advantage. That's like a nightmare. Why am I carrying this thing? when I don't have anything extra.
Yeah, exactly.
Except a gym session.
Well, to be fair, you get all the attention on the field. If a guy really runs an M200 on the field, everyone's like, wow, this guy must be an idiot. What else do we have?
Turn on slow mode.
What?
Nah, it's not a question. A 0.5 joule AEGs for Germany.
We're actually making them.
Yeah.
The SSR4 will come in 0.5. I think it's not this batch yet, but the next one. And there's actually gonna be a gun that's gonna be really, really interesting for Germany. It's gonna be a DSG even, but that's all I'm gonna say for now. 0.5 DSG coming to Germany.
Actually, one interesting fact is, like you told me, how hard is it to make a weak gun, right? Maybe you can.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
like you can elaborate on that. Like, what are the pitfalls, perhaps? That's kind of interesting. I would.
Now, we design our guns for the markets that we ourselves play in, which is Europe, so kind of like Central Western Europe, and then also the US. We sometimes go there and play there, and also their true limits are quite similar. So all the internals, and that starts with the motor to the gear ratio, compression, all of this hop up. We go for a certain BB weight because it's 1.5 joule or 3 joule sniper rifles. You need a certain BB weight and so on. Now, some people say, hey, can you make a 0.5 joule version? Or the Koreans say, can you make a 0.02 joule version? And it's not very easy, just 0.02.
It's like the BB rolling out of the barrel.
Yes, but I also know that these guys, they just need it for import. Once they import it, they change it immediately. So I am aware of that, guys. I know what you're doing. No, but back to the topic. It sounds so easy, you would think just put a weaker spring, what's the problem? But it's not. You run into too fast moving pistons, you run into pre-engagement, you run into the issues that you need to use lighter BBs, but they get stuck in hopper bucking because it's too hard. You run into compression issues, for example, on the SSG-10, the cup type piston. It needs a certain pressure to expand and to seal with the cylinder, and with a 2-week spring, you don't get any compression anymore because the piston is just not, it's not creating the pressure needed for the piston head to work. So every time that a German person says, hey, make a 0.5 joule version, we really need to consider, well, this is quite some development efforts because we have to make a new bucking, we have to pick a new piston head, we have to do all these things. And we do it for some models where we think it's, really cool, like, let's say a 9mm SMG. That's cool, but for stuff like sniper rifles, like an SSG-10 or an L96, it's just kind of not really into it. Are you planning, sorry, what?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so one person is asking, are you planning on releasing a Mears rail for the Tex 338? We actually don't, because the problem is we made once a Mears rail for the SG-24, and making another run of this would require quantities that I know we will not be able to. Not enough people are gonna buy it. Basically, we're gonna be sitting on them. So if you have a Tex 338 and you want a Mears rail, they are all in the market. You just have to find them. You will. Maybe some guy with an SG-24, he maybe, it's just a wall hanger at this point, and he has a Mears rail on it. Buy it from this guy. That's my tip to get the full Tex 338 look.
Do you plan to focus more on air IPSC / competition in the future? I would say definitely.
Yes,
it's a lot of fun.
Yes.
We turned one of our rooms into IPSC range, and it just got used like every day for hours by different people. Us with Chris, it's just so much fun, and Chris got actually way faster.
Oh my god, I got so much faster. I went from, I think, 25 seconds down to 10.5. So I got more than twice as fast within a month at this range. And, we had the first IPSC range actually over a year ago. And back then we saw that if you want to do that, you need a timer. And timers are so hard to get. And also, even these IPSC plates, like these metal plates, are so hard to get that we decided, you know what, we're going to make our own and we're going to make it so cheap that people can actually do it. And I'm really excited for the Bluetooth timer that we are developing right now, which is like a little IPSC stop plate that you connect to your phone. We try to make it under 40 euros, which, you know, still sounds pricey, but when you look into the market, these usually retail for like 120. I think the Mad Bull one is 120, and they even stopped producing them. But I want to put more attention on this kind of the sport, because you can literally go into a backyard, put up some targets, invite a friend, or you can also do it alone, and you just compete. You know, you just run it, you improve your time, and you can train super easily.
It combines the best of everything. You get exercise, you shoot, it's fun, you get something you can improve because you get instant feedback in form of time, you know, time value. So you can just get better and better, and it's, for me, it's super engaging. I got pulled into it, and yep, I cannot wait for the targets and, well, everything that you need for it. To be fair, you don't actually need that. Just a pistol, timer, poppers. That's it.
And you can do it for a short amount of time. This is what I love the most about it. You don't have to dedicate your entire Saturday for it. Even if you have just like an hour after work before, I don't know, you meet a friend or something, you can just do it real quick. That's what I love about it.
Also, it's super easy to pull other people into it that never played Airsoft. You just explain how the gun works, and then, you know, 10 minutes and they are in. So great activity for even couples. I mean, we've done it, right? It was fun.
Yeah, we brought some girls in, and even they enjoyed it. Yeah, and when, you know, very often when you bring a girl to an Airsoft game, they're gonna be like, I'm not sure. Like, this is not, especially, you know, here in Europe. I know in the US, like, the fields are a bit different, but here in Europe, man, you can't. There's not even a toilet at the field, right? And somehow, yeah, women have a higher standard when it comes to hygiene. You know, for us guys, we just pee into the forest. But for women, it's kind of like, there's no toilet, I'm not coming. And with IPSC, you don't have all of that. You know, you're like in a building with proper hygienic sanitary infrastructure. So everything is a lot easier.
Lucifer, I plan on becoming an Airsoft YouTuber. What can I do to be good? Well, should I say it?
Well, there's a very ugly truth, Joseph, you can say it.
Just don't. Just don't.
Well, you can become an Airsoft YouTuber, but don't expect to make a living from it. That's all I can tell you.
If you have this calling that you want to share your Airsoft adventures, and you are prepared to put a lot of time, a lot of money into it, learning how to edit the videos, and, you know, just spend so much time on it, yeah, then sure. I mean, please go ahead. It's fun. It's nice to see the feedback, but these days it's saturated. Yeah. There is enough Airsoft channels and not enough audience. We are in a niche market. So yeah, I think that sums it up.
Yeah. Do it for yourself, but don't expect a massive exploding channel. Unfortunately, these times are over. Making zoom cam videos is not difficult anymore. You just buy zoom cam, put it in a gun, and that's why there's so many channels, which I actually really appreciate, because there's lots of content that draws people to the sport.
Which is your favorite pistol from the SSP lineup? Well, SSP 18 for me.
For me, it's the SSP 5 because of the red dot. I mean, the pistol itself is also amazing, but the fact that the red dot is so low, man. I ran that IPSC course so fast, so much faster than with any other iron sight pistol.
What server Joseph boosts? That's actually our internal server that we use for meetings and stuff. So I couldn't boost this server. Yeah, that's it. It's our meeting server, like work related.
Yeah. When will we see an affordable NVG from Novritsch? I don't think that's ever gonna come. We have some people in the company who really love playing with NVGs and doing night games. Honestly, I'm not one of them. How about you, Joseph?
I tried it. I had like a military grade NVG. I don't know. First of all, it's hard to find people to play with. especially in Europe. I think in the US it might be a bit different. It's probably more common, maybe even. But here it's. I just don't see it really. It didn't really feel right. It's just a hassle, and it costs a lot of money. It's just super expensive.
I very often say this, but airsoft is compared to most sports quite a difficult sport. When you look at football, or tennis, you get your tennis racket and your shoes, and boom, off you go, and you play. When it comes to airsoft, we all know it. You prepare for 1 or 2 hours before a game, and you prepare, and then you do after the game. You fix stuff, and you readjust, and you buy new gear because you figured out that this is not really what fits your style, and so on. Now, if you add NVGs on top of all of this, it's a whole new nightmare on top of all of this already very complex hobby. And I kind of want to make airsoft bigger, but because I think it's an amazing sport, and I think more people should play it, and more people should benefit from, doing such an amazing sport, basically. And NVG is kind of like the opposite of this. And I totally get why people are doing it, but it's not what we're pushing.
When is the Novritsch GBBR happening? From Vodka Man 1.
Yeah, but I'm
Chris,
going to answer it.
When is it happening?
Just like we answered all the questions before. We are working on everything at the same time. It's just a question of time until it comes.
So it is happening. Yes.
Yes, it is. It is. And Joseph already loves it.
Oh, yeah.
Good. What else do we have?
Dark Emergency. Will we be there? From Geonox. Hello, Geonox.
We are evaluating right now. Most likely we will be there in person. We just don't know yet if we're gonna have a booth there or not.
Maybe just showing like a small one, not really a store, but just having the stuff there so that people can try it. They can talk to us. They can check out everything. That seems like the most reasonable variant right now, but no promises yet.
Yes. Good.
What is the strangest moment you encountered during an airsoft game? By Controlled Chaos. Chris, does something come to your mind?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I was just reading about it.
What is the strange moment you encountered during an airsoft game? For me, I'm not sure if that's like a strange moment or, well, it's police coming up and then like asking questions, and you don't really know what's going on. Do I go to jail or something? I mean, not anymore. That's mostly like years ago when we were playing on, in shady places and, Czech Republic, I guess. But it was never an issue. Like I never got into trouble. They usually just say hi, like, what are you doing? And, oh, these guns are pretty cool. Can I shoot it? That's mostly how it goes. But yeah, that was a weird situation, especially the first time that happened.
For me, it was in the US, actually. It was at one game, multiple things. It was a Mills and West game. And one thing was that's even in the video, I was running on a field, and all of a sudden I hear a cow, and I turn to the left, and there's a cow, like an actual bull, running in my direction. That was the most scary thing ever, especially because when I was a kid, I was visiting a farmer friend who had also cows in the field, and I got chased by one of the cows as well, and somehow that stuck with me. Like I didn't even know that, but I'm still traumatized by this event that happened to me when I was a child. And when that bull was running after me, I almost shit my pants. It was just so scary for me. So that was for sure one of the tougher ones. The other thing was also at this Mills and West game. It was 3 days long, and for 3 days it was just raining. Like, I never even experienced this. It was raining and raining and raining, and it just didn't stop. And I was sleeping in a tent where This didn't feel like an airsoft game anymore. This felt like the military at some point. It really reminded me of the shit we had to go through at the Austrian military. Because our tent was flooded, we were sleeping in water basically. I had to put an alarm on my phone for every hour to wake up and bring the water out of our tent so we don't, start freezing in our sleep. Also, this field, because there were so many cows, it was full of cow poop. And usually it's not a problem if it's dry, but man, when it's raining, all that fucking cow poop is all over the grassland. And it's just, the smell was unimaginable. I felt like I'm playing, I don't know, in a public train station toilet or something.
Transition toilet? What is that?
Train station toilet. Well,
train station.
Train station toilets are usually not the most pleasant, least smelling.
Why interest in making a pistol caliber rifle? I'm not sure if I understand it correctly.
Or if we have interest in making a PCC, I guess that's the question.
So, yeah. I guess.
Yeah, PCCs are super cool. I mean, mags are small. In Airsoft, there's no reason to make a magazine big. It's not that a bigger magazine gives you a bigger caliber in Airsoft. So it is very interesting to us, yeah. And we might actually be working on a couple of them already.
What might be the best gun you recommend from your entire company, I guess, lineup? So if you could only pick one, which one would you pick? That's actually quite an interesting question.
Did you say event or product?
A product, like a gun. So SSG-10, SSR-4, SSR-90, like you can only pick one. Which one would that be?
For me, that would be the SSG-24, for sure.
24?
For sure, yeah. SSG-24.
For me,
and I'll tell you why, but you can tell yours first.
No, go. I'm still thinking. It's hard.
The SSG-24 launch was, I think, one of the most emotional moments in my life, actually. And for the people who know me, they know I'm not a very emotional person. Like, I'm quite robotic in a way, which I think you even have to be. If you run a business, you kind of have to become a robot, and don't be overwhelmed by your emotions and just make really rational decisions. But that really got me. When I launched SSG-24 and the feedback, there was just some people writing me direct messages on how much they like this gun, and I was just, at the launch day, I was literally falling to the ground crying like a little bitch because it was just so overwhelming. Because I worked on this so hard, right? Not that, I mean, that bloody gun, I spent multiple months in Taiwan to get that thing right, and it was so much work, and it just felt really nice to, how appreciated this product was in the end.
When you say this, same reason SSP-18. I mean, I wasn't crying, but I also spend a lot of time on that one, so I would love to have that one.
Yeah. Good. Do you have a solution? Klopapier wrote this, German guy, probably. Do you have a solution when your left eye is dominant, but you're right-handed? Because when you look through your sniper scope, it's not a problem because you can shut your left eye. But with a red dot, it's tricky. I have a solution to this because I have it myself. I'm also left eye dominant, but right-handed. And I tell you the solution. You have to relearn to the left. There's no other way because you cannot retrain your eyes to the other one. And I had this now, and I was running it, because I was running snipers for so long, it was never an issue for me because I could just close my eyes. But now that I run more AHGs, I actually retrained to left hand. And when you watch the latest videos, you will see that I have the gun for a major amount of the game actually in the left side. I mean, I still have, obviously the habit of having it on my right side, and I'm fighting it a bit, but that's the way forward. Because otherwise you cannot use a red dot properly, unfortunately. So that's what you have to go through. What else do we have?
Man, I'm scrolling through the questions and it's behaving in a weird way. Like it seems like it's kind of lagging and kind of mixing up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you have the same issue.
I don't have it. I will just continue talking. Maybe meanwhile you can fix it. Ehitaya asks, what's the best platform to start Airsoft? That's a very obvious question. very obvious answer. It's the M4 AEG platform for sure. There's multiple entry-level models. Pick one, and you're gonna have a good time. Anything else, like, don't start with a sniper rifle, don't start with just a pistol, don't start, like, just the M4 AEG is a great starting platform. Just because it's the most competitive in price, so you get the best bang for your buck.
What pushed you to pursue Airsoft, and what do you think about the future of Airsoft? Also, and then there is a mesh mask, which we kind of already answered by Knight. I think that's how we pronounce it. So what started this? What happened?
I mean, what started it is, I think people know the story. I can really briefly recap, but when I was 14 years old, I bought a Springer pistol. I really liked it. I played with my friends around the house. We shot each other. We then discovered the Airsoft community, which I joined. Then I started making videos. Boom, many people watched. People wanted to know which sniper rifle I'm running, so I was flying to Taiwan and I made a proper one because the one I was running, I upgraded myself. That's the whole thing in real short. Now, about the future of Airsoft, I think that's actually the more interesting question. Because I am not 100% sure. And I'm also sometimes a bit concerned that it might change a lot. I was talking to field owners and also to Mike from Border War, so, Milsim organizers and also pickup game field owners who were in this industry for a long time. And the trend that seems to be happening is that, and that's not just Airsoft, but that's pretty much everything. Many, many years ago, let's say 10 years ago, it was very normal that when you got into something, you really dedicated yourself and you were kind of like, okay, I want to do snowboarding or I want to do downhill biking. I'm going to try it once and then I'm going to invest into all the equipment. I'm going to have everything at home. I'm going to repair it myself. I'm going to tech on it and I'm going to make this my life, right? This is the center of my free time and I'm going to evolve around it, kind of. When you look at the newest generations, which many people call the millennials, so people born after 2000, they do things differently. And I also see this pattern coming towards me as well because businesses kind of support it. What's happening is that people really like the idea of going somewhere, getting everything they need, just pay, I don't know, some money. They go there, they get everything they need, they do it, and they leave. And they don't want all the hassle of choosing what to buy, repairing it, maintaining it, getting the newest stuff, tinkering with it. They don't like that kind of stuff. And I think that would really change Airsoft because Airsoft, such a big part of Airsoft is right now the tech community and how people customize their guns, and what might come more and more is kind of what laser tag or paintball is, where you go there, you get your stuff and you leave. And I kind of, it's not bad, but it's not the Airsoft that I'm used to. And I don't even know if I would actually want it to change in this direction. What do you think, Joseph?
To this, I can add a couple of things because I agree. You can also see this in the trend of like social media. You have shorts and reels, and it's the same thing. You are just not willing to spend too much time on one thing, and you kind of, the attention span is just getting shorter and shorter. And same goes for hobbies, I think. Like, people used to have one hobby and that's it. But now you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do that, and try something different.
Lost you. Are you still there?
Yeah.
I lost you. Oh, no, we're back. Okay, please continue. You said that with hobbies it's also similar.
Yeah. Like, you used to do one thing and do it properly, and that's it, like you said. But nowadays you just want to try more things and switch quite often. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. I wish that wasn't the case because I'm also used to the other way of, I've been playing for 14 years. That's that, but yeah. Don't have really anything more to add. This is just one thought I had when you were talking. And to answer the first part, what pushed me to Airsoft is I actually have no idea. I think just shooting something was always just appealing, and I wanted to do that. I didn't know what was it. And I actually started with the real steel shooting when I was like 14 or 15. I started 22 LR, like target shooting, and it was cool. But then, just you are in one position, you have to shoot 60 times, and that's it. So it wasn't really what I was after. And then when I realized there is something like Airsoft, like, okay, I'm in. And yeah, that's the story. I think Chris, you told me, or somebody told me that humans have this urge to launch projectiles, just somehow encoded in the.
Yeah, Yen talked about it and actually researched a bit on it, and also lately listened to a book that's about human evolution. And it seems, or this is the theory, that, and this is why these sports will never go away, it's just in our nature. And as much as politicians will want to ban all guns and all everything and all, I don't know, violence promoting blah blah whatnot, man, we just love doing that. You see a kid, it takes a snowball and it throws it, and it enjoys it when it hits something. And the theory behind this is that if you liked doing this kind of stuff when you were in the hunter-gathering times, if you like doing that stuff, it means that you practiced it because you enjoyed it. And once you practiced it, you became good at it. And then you could maybe hit a rabbit with a stick or like a stone or something. Or you could maybe throw a spear after a deer. Or you could be really proficient in bow and arrow shooting, because if you love doing it, your chances of surviving were a lot higher. So this is rooted into our DNA, and there's no way to change it. So and you see this, if countries ban Airsoft like China has done it, then people go to Gel-Ball, and now they ban Gel-Ball, and now they're going to Nerf, and now they want to ban Nerf, and now they want to go to laser systems. So we just like that hide and seek and shooting stuff and hitting stuff. It's just so satisfying to us humans.
I think that sums it up pretty well, because I also cannot tell what it was. I just knew that I want to do it. And here we go. There I am. Who would win in a sniper battle, Christoph or Kicking Mustang? Well, I guess that depends on the game mode.
I never played with him. That's the thing. From videos, it's very hard to tell how good. I mean, if is there even such a thing as being good in Airsoft? Because if you hide in a ghillie, that's a very different thing than, I don't know, running speed QB with a pistol. Can you compare these two things? I don't think you can. But I wouldn't know. Honestly, we would have to try it.
I say, me personally, I would probably lose, because I would just be running around, and that's it. I just don't. I don't like to hide and stay for long in one place and all that, and that ultimately makes you vulnerable to snipers. That's just what it is. And no matter how good you are, you will get hit. That's it. But if I cannot see you, I cannot shoot in your direction, right? So I guess I would lose. I'm gonna admit that.
Probably, yeah. However, I think it also really depends how you see it, because honestly, when I go to an Airsoft game, I don't measure if I was good or not in this round. I don't measure it by how often I died. I actually don't care how often I die. It's just about how many people did I take out. Because in most games, you have infinite respawn anyways, and if you want to help your team, it's not a disadvantage for your team if you die real quick and you're back in the game a minute later, right? What's a problem for your team is if you kind of like stay in the back and you don't really go into action, you don't really push towards the objective. So in this sense, what's good or bad? I think this question can't even be answered. Really depends on what will be the rules of that game. But if it's just who gets hit first, I will probably also lose, because I like playing in ghillies, but lately I really enjoy running AGs as well, and just pushing and being really active, which I also do with sniper rifles. I mean, you guys know the videos.
Ultimately, you just need to make sure that you have fun, and then it's a success no matter what. It's a game, right?
For sure.
What is it like traveling with your guns, especially in airport? Chris, you have a lot of experience with that.
I have some experience with it, yeah. Well, it really sucks, and I don't recommend it. Honestly, it's always better to have someone locally who can borrow you some gun. That's always the better option. Unless you're very, very particular about your gun, yeah. which I was. I wanted to run my VSR10 with my upgrade parts and not any other out-of-the-box sniper rifles from some dude. Yeah, you have to be at the airport at least 4 hours earlier instead of, I don't know, 1 hour earlier, because you're going to get into trouble. There's going to be the police, they're going to come, they're going to check, they're going to find out it's just an airsoft gun, and then they will let you go. But how long this process takes really, really depends. Also, obviously, you have to check where you transit. If you transit in Germany, just don't do it unless you have an F mark on it. If you transit in China, you're probably going to go to jail. And if you transit in, I don't know, Singapore, probably the same is going to happen. So inform yourself about
well.
Exactly. Yeah. Inform yourself where you're going, if airsoft is allowed there, and if no country that you physically touch has anything against airsoft in their law, then you feel free. Just bring it with you. But again, be early at the airport.
Yeah, it's doable. Like from the US, I actually traveled with a huge suitcase full of gun parts and scopes and red dots and just a lot of things. And I was surprised that nobody said anything, which is weird. Now, I personally never traveled with the gun, and I wouldn't. It's just not worth it. Especially these days, like so many people have the, I don't know, SSG-10 or like decent shooting guns, so there is not really a need to take your own, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, generally speaking, airsoft guns in general, just became a lot better. When I think of 10 years ago, man, guns were just, I mean, unless you were happy with 1 joule, there were some good guns, but all the 1.5 and 3 joule stuff, it was just crap for the most part. By now, there's some really good out-of-the-box solutions in the market, which I'm super happy about, because now it's easier for people to get into the sport and having fun. Because before, you had to be a tech to have a good gun, basically. Which actually, I think that's quite a problem for some people, because people really identify with this. Back in the days, it was kind of like, if you had a sniper rifle that shoots nice, you were like the hottest shit because you knew how to upgrade. That's not really the case anymore. Now you have to, if you really seek that attention, you have to just play good, because good sniper rifles are all over the place.
And also, Swamp Sniper from the US said that it really changes the game. Like he noticed how it changed a lot. Like snipers these days, they can actually hit things.
Yeah.
Before that, I remember, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, or even not that long ago, when somebody told me on the field, hey, there is a sniper, I'm like, yeah, great. Let's go get him, right? I mean, you didn't feel any danger from a sniper, because 99.9% of the cases, just they couldn't hit anything. But these days, not anymore. Snipers are actually dangerous.
Yeah. One guy's asking, when are mag pouches for the Silverback SRS coming out? Now, funny enough, we actually started making products for other gun platforms. The first one we did was the Scorpion Evo. That was also a request by Joseph, because he owns a real steel one and he really wanted a magazine pouch. And we have one other guy in the company who runs an Evo and he really likes it. So Doug said, I talked with Doug and we said, you know what? Let's make a magazine pouch for the mags where there's no proper solutions. And actually, we're also looking at the SRS, because same with the camo cover, there was no camo cover for the SRS. So we kind of said, there's people running it. Let's just make a camo cover for them. So yeah, we're gonna make a magazine pouch. It is already in the project pipeline, but I cannot give a time estimation. Well, I can kinda. I think in 2023 it will still be launched, but I think more towards the end.
I see a lot of requests about LMGs over.
Yeah, I also. What's going on?
So many people.
Yeah, but I think I can tell you why.
They look
I talked to Alphonse about this at length. There's even a whole podcast about it, and it almost feels like the LMG market is, in a way, similar to the sniper rifle market 5 years ago. Man, you just can't get anything that's good out of the box. Like I think the A&K ones are one of the better ones, but also here you have to change the chamber, you have to change the bucking. At some point your gears are gonna be fucked up. So there's not really like buy it and run it, and it's gonna last for a long time. And that's really important about LMGs, man. You need these CNC gears, and you need that CNC steel piston rack, because that stuff is just gonna wear. And for some reason, no suppliers actually do that. They kind of rely on the people upgrading these platforms. I think that's why it's mentioned all over the place. Good. One guy asks, any updates on the P90 mags? Now that is actually that news. I think it's already on the website, if I don't recall that incorrectly. Now we wanted to make P90 magazines that hold 200 rounds, and we even had prototypes already. The problem is that the SSR90 runs at such high RPS, especially with fully charged LiPos. You know, this thing can go up to 28 rounds per second with a fully charged LiPo. And this gun is supposed to shoot 0.32s, and with this spec, we actually failed doing it. We couldn't get it reliable enough to make that happen. We would have to either go down with RPS or go down with the BB weight. And you know, it also feeds in the beginning, but once you play, there's some dust getting into it. It can get unreliable, and we really didn't want to push out a magazine that feeds unreliable. So that project is unfortunately cancelled. I can tell you, however, that the Crytek magazines do work in the SSR90, but also here you have to be careful. The rate of fire of the SSR90 is just really high. It does feed, but also with heavy BBs, and once there's some dirt in it, it can also lead to issues. So sorry for this bad news, but that's what it is.
Will there be smoke grenades in the shop? Correct me if I'm wrong, but pyrotechnics, it's just a hassle to ship around.
Yeah.
It makes everything very, very complicated. So no pyrotechnics.
Yeah. Because that could screw up our entire infrastructure. If we get contracts cancelled with UPS or DHL, we cannot ship any products anymore. So we are not willing to take the risk to ship pyrotechnics. How long have we actually said that we do this? Did we announce anything?
Yeah, it was 1 hour, and we are 1 hour.
Oh, we're over already.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice.
There is a good one. Is Novritsch a gamer? I think they mean you. So are you a gamer? Have you ever played a game?
Airsoft games, but video games, not that much anymore. I used to game a lot when I was in boarding school. But really, you know, Airsoft took my attention, and with Airsoft, I actually kind of stopped gaming, which I know that's not the case for many people. For many people, it's like kind of complementary. You know, you game when you don't have that much time. When you have a lot of time, you go out to the field. But I stopped gaming pretty much altogether a couple of years ago.
Last time we actually played together Killing Floor 2, so shooting zombies.
I really suck at video games at this point because I haven't done it in such a long time. You still play some video games, right, Joseph?
From time to time, yeah. From time to time. Sometimes I get like pulled in and I play, and then I don't even think about it for a month, and it's like on and off.
Yeah.
But last game I've been playing is Valheim.
Yeah. Well, I was really into shooters back then. Like I played all the Call of Duties until Modern Warfare 2, and I enjoyed all of them a lot. Like fuck, I like Modern Warfare 2. I played a shit ton online. I just really liked that one. But yeah, it's gotten less and less, and right now, not really anymore.
Yeah, I mean, at some point when you work full time and even more on Airsoft, all the time, you have to make choices, and I usually don't pick a game over something else. Sometimes I do, but not that often anymore. You know, when you are at high school and you have so much free time, it's kind of easy to game every day and play Counter-Strike competitively and all that, but yeah, it just changes. Priorities.
Someone's asking, are there any more SG10 body colors coming, like 10 or olive? So on the SG10A1, we tried different colors, and man, I just don't like how it looks. We had a 10, we had a green, we had the samples here. I looked at it and I said, nah, that just, I don't know, it just doesn't fit. I think the only color that would fit the SG10 body would actually be wooden, a wooden stock. That would look cool. However, on the A3, we are now offering an FDE version. Like on this JC, it does look really, really nice. It's like this two-toned black tan. You guys should check it out. I think it looks sick.
I'm thinking about changing my personal SSG10 to that one because it just gives it something extra. It's not like black gun, whatever. No, it's cool.
That's cool. What does SSP stand for? Well, all the SS stands for sharpshooter because we launched with the SSG 24, and that stands for Sharpshooter Gun 24, or in German Scharfschützengewehr 24, which is how the Austrian military calls their sharpshooter guns. And we just kind of stick with it. Now we call it, SSP2 is like sharpshooter pistol. But at this point, we don't really see it like this anymore. It's just how we name our products. It became our own thing.
So now the question is, when will we run out of letters? That could potentially happen, right?
Well, it could potentially happen, but we already have new systems. Like we're now developing Mark II versions of certain guns. So it's like, I'm just gonna name some random one. Let's say SSE18. If we would make a new upgraded SSE, we would call it SSE18 Mark II. If it still looks like SSE18, but it's upgraded. Letters are actually only for systems. So SSG stands for Spring Action Sniper Rifles. SSQ stands for Quiet Non-Blowback. So that could be also, let's say, a gas sniper rifle would also be SSQ. Yeah, so I think there's enough letters, hopefully, unless we invent some new systems. But it's a lot of letters,
At what age are you allowed to buy Novritsch guns, EDC merch in Austria? And what about shooting at targets at home? So as far as I know, it's 18. Like once you are 18, at least in most countries in Europe, you can just buy airsoft guns, unless you need some special permission, but that's generally speaking 18. And when it comes to shooting at targets at home, honestly, you can start at any age if your parents allow that, because if you are at home, it's not a problem. You cannot really endanger anyone if you stick to like safety rules and all that. And you can just have fun with targets, some poppers, like we talked before, like set up a range. I mean, why not? As long as your parents allow that, I see no limitation really.
What are the best ways to prevent fogging on gear, goggles, and glasses? Well, I asked it myself also for the last 10 years, and I tried multiple solutions. There's all these like wizards on the internet which tell you just spit into your goggles or just use soap. None of that shit works, I'm telling you. All these like sprays, wipes, all the kind of stuff. It maybe works for half a game, but it doesn't work for the full game.
Usually more like 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Then there is solutions like Joseph does it, just don't use Face Pro. That also works. Use a mouse guard. That it's probably one of the most efficient and also most cost-effective ways. But you have to have a face out of iron, or just never get shot in the face somehow. I don't know how you do it, Joseph.
If you take a hit, I mean, just be okay with it and move on.
Just call it really fast so there's not a second BB coming. Another solution is vented goggles with active fans. I had the ESS turbo fans. However, what I don't like about them is they are quite loud. Like you don't hear the environment as nicely anymore because it's kind of like in front of you, that sound. Also, sometimes they were still fogging. Like that fan was just not strong enough, and the cable solutions, they break. They're also expensive. I think they're one of the better solutions, but you have to have deep pockets, and you need to like the look of them because they're fucking big. In the end, what we decided is that we want to make our own, which is not anti-fog. I guess you guys have seen that. Yeah, I really like that solution. There were other solutions out on the market already that were similar, but I really disagreed with the price tag on them. And also really disagreed with the interface of them and also the connection to the goggles. So we made our own version. I think we really improved on what's on the market right now. And that honestly, and this is not, me trying to sell stuff, but I do believe genuinely that this is the best anti-fog solution on the market right now.
All right, I think we are already 22 minutes over, so I guess let's not make it too long. Last question, Chris. What's your plan for tonight?
What's my plan for tonight? Man, I need to pee since 20 minutes. That's what I'm gonna do, Joseph.
That's the very next thing, huh?
What about you?
Me, it's literally sleeping.
Oh yeah, you still get jet lag.
So tired. I think I'm just gonna close the laptop and just hit the hay. Like, I'm done. Today I woke up at 4:30 again. That's a long day.
Sweet. You know, get up early. The early, how's it called? The early worm catches. No, the early bird catches the worm. That's how it is. Not the other way around. Well,
never heard that.
Thanks everyone for joining this and for bringing all these questions. Also for listening to us. We really appreciate that. And let's do this again.
Let's do it again. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully with the video next time, once we get the server up and running and get all the permissions and all the features. Also, thanks to everyone who is boosting the server, because that's a big thing. So thank you very much.